Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Coach D, and welcome to Real Talk Tuesday. This is episode 16. For those that are new to the channel, for sure, you're gonna want to tag somebody, man. You're gonna want to bring them in for this conversation right here. I got a special treat for you. I can't wait to give it to you. But before we do that, I want to take you back to a quote that I heard. I heard my guy Albert Einstein say, and I thought it was super interesting, to say the least, what he said. And this is what he said. Albert Einstein said, it's not that I'm smart. He said, it's just I stay with problems longer. I'm gonna say that one more time. Albert Einstein, this genius of a person, he said, it's not that I'm so smart. He said, it's just I stay with problems longer. Man, when I heard that made me really begin to think. How many of us, we come against something that's difficult, something that's extremely challenging, something that seems like, man, you know what? Ain't no way in the world I'll be able to conquer that thing. And we're quick to tap out. He said, it's not that I'm so smart. Yeah, he wasn't discrediting his intelligence. Like he understood he was smart. He said, but that's not the thing that has made me so great, if you will. The thing that made me so great, so iconic, so legendary is the fact that when I encountered problems, I stayed with them long enough for me to figure it out. And so today I want to talk about none other than resourcefulness. And I want to slow down for a moment, because last week we talked about commitment. And I told you, if you got a dream and you're looking to make that dream a reality, the only way you make that dream a reality is by having commitment. Commitment is the bridge between your dreams and that you experience in real life. And so if you don't have commitment, chances are you're not going to ever realize that dream. But today I want to take it a step further, because on the road to actually going from dream to reality, yeah, you got commitment, but now you got to find yourself being resourceful. And yeah, so I'm super excited. Before we get started, let me do this. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor of the week, Alliance Bank, doing some amazing things in this community, in the city of Waco and abroad. Honestly, they are doing some amazing things. But I want to tell you, thank you personally for sponsoring this episode, Alliance Bank. We really appreciate not just you backing us up for the episode, but also the work that we're doing out in the community, the work we're doing in the juvenile detention centers and these youth correctional facilities. We appreciate you backing that up. Hope for the Underdog is one of those missions that Alliance has supported, chose to support, which is nothing more than us taking motivation and taking literacy, taking books into these juvenile detention centers and the youth correctional facilities, and we're helping to rehabilitate these young kings and these young queens that are actually detained. And so that way, when they get out, their recidivism rate drops all the way down, and they don't go back in the system. They don't return to where they just came from. And so again, shout out to our sponsor of the week, Alliance Bank. Let me get back to this topic, resourcefulness, man. Last week, I know I broke it down for you. I even got a little bit more transparent. I said, man, it's Real Talk Tuesday. We're not going to sugarcoat. We're not going to hold anything back. I started sharing with you guys how personally my family, my wife, our 5 kids, and myself, we ended up going through this bout of homelessness, or I should say these bouts of homelessness. So it was more than one time. But I remember a time when I shared this last week, where we ended up going into a shelter. But prior to going into that shelter, I was up against some serious challenges, if you will. I found myself, business had turned upside down. I found myself not having a job. we've been evicted, or not evicted, but pretty much, you know, we were asked to leave the apartment complex that we were in. Friends wouldn't let us stay there any longer because it was causing tension, you know, between us. And so we had to make a move, man. Tried the hotel, tried the motels. And I promise you, like, that right there wasn't even good enough, because eventually the money ran out. And I had to get to a place where I humbled myself. And this is what I'm saying, young king, listen to me and listen to me good. I had to get to the place where I humbled myself and I began to ask for help. And once I did that, that's when we ended up going into a shelter. And the more I kept raising my hand saying, hey, can I get help? Hey, can you just, I don't want you to do it for me. I just want you to help me up so I can do for my family. I want you to help me. And so an organization by the name of Foundation for the Homeless, they allowed us to come in and helped us get on our feet, man. We went from being homeless to eventually being homeowners, right? And so I'm so grateful. But had I not asked for that help, had I not humbled myself and admitted, you know what, this is the dream, I want to make it a reality. I got commitment, but now I need the help. I started to become very resourceful in that moment. I wasn't too proud to ask for the help that I needed. And so with all that being said, I'm telling you, listen to me, young king, I'm telling you, more than anything, on your road to realizing your dreams, you're going to get hit, and you're going to get hit hard. And you're going to feel like, dang, man, that was like, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, maybe. Right? You're going to get hit so hard that you become discouraged and you feel like, you know what, is it even worth me going? In those moments, I'm asking you to do one thing: be resourceful. Stay with the problem long enough. Stay with the problem long enough until you're able to figure it out. And that definitely doesn't mean you have to go at it alone. This is where, again, you ask for help. Closed mouth, what? Don't get fed. So yeah, again, Real Talk Tuesday, man. This is the episode that I'm super excited about. And I want to bring up a good brother of mine, man, a good friend of mine. He's also let me just kind of run down his resume, if you will. All right. This brother is definitely a family man. But before I get to that piece, this brother has served our country in the United States Air Force. He's a veteran. He's done did his thing in the military. But more so, he's done his thing in the community. For 20 plus years, my brother has been in the trenches, making an impact, touching lives, empowering right people. And then not only that, but he's a husband and he's a father of not one, not two, but five sons, right? 5 boys. And he's also the founder of Boys to Gentlemen and the author of the book, Boys to Gentlemen. Man, help me welcome my brother, Chris C. Daughtery. Hey, man, welcome.
Man, what's up? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for real. No doubt, man. Yeah, just to have the opportunity to get you on here and to get you to share that wisdom that you have, man. I believe that our audience can gain a lot just from just hearing you speak, man. And so to have you, to me, it's an honor for sure. But I wanna just kind of jump right into some of the questions that I have for you, man, especially as it pertains to resourcefulness. But let's kind of rewind for a moment, because I know you're married. I know you got 5 kids, man. Just break it down for me. How long you been married? How many? Like, what's the age range for your boys?
So shout out to my queen, Miss Vita Daughtery. We've been married for 6 years. So my oldest is 15. I got a set of 10 twins who are 12. And then the last 2 nuck if you buck babies. I'm just gonna tell you, them COVID babies hit different. Uh, shout
Yeah,
out to Isaiah Pooh,
yeah,
and shout out to Micah Terrell. Boy. So that's my 5 babies.
yeah.
Wouldn't trade them for the world. So shout out to J My, Eli, Easy, Isaiah, and Micah.
Hey, come on now. He said them COVID babies hit different.
Woo! Figuratively and literally. Oh man.
All right, cool. Yeah, I don't have any COVID babies, man. My baby,
Woo!
she just turned 16, oldest 24, but that's what's up, man. I definitely want to hear about them COVID babies, but for the sake of time, man, I want you to kind of take us back, man. I know you served in the Air Force. You and your queen, you're raising your 5 boys, and you built this mentorship program, organization, mentoring organization, Boys to Gentlemen. What role has resourcefulness played in your journey? Like what role has that played, man?
That's a sensitive topic because you talk about resourcefulness. I think that shows most in a place of lack of resources. And so, you think particularly financially, oftentimes you're asked to do more with less, which can be exhausting, but at the same time, it prepares you for things to not be as dependent. So it kind of gives you an added edge when it comes, and it's going to test you to see if you really about the work. I'm pretty sure nobody would turn down, doing the job if you getting 6 figures and you got everything lush and taken care of. But when you come out your own pocket, when you leave working, getting cussed out by kids for a couple hours to argue with a couple parents, leave that, come home, make sure your family's straight, only to leave again to go cut grass in the West Texas heat, just to make sure bills are paid and make sure you can feed some of these babies. And I don't think everybody is as resourceful as they would like to be. But I think it's huge in that topic you talk about resourcefulness, because sometimes we think about it from a monetary standpoint. But when I look at it, I also look at just soft skills. So our 4 pillars were from Boys and Gentlemen is emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, communication skills, and critical thinking. And oftentimes in that lack, that's where we see a lot of those problems that lead to those roads that we're trying to keep young men from getting into. How many kids have gotten in trouble because the only emotion that they know how to show is anger? But then we don't look at the fact that sometimes anger is the only socially acceptable emotion to show. We don't have communication skills. We don't have conflict resolution. And when you ask, one of the things I ask kids all the time is like, how many times you've been in a situation where you do something, you get in trouble, and then you turn around and say, what was I thinking? Well, let me answer that for you. You wasn't thinking. Like you start that process of I act and then I thought about it, instead of let me think about before I act. So those are some of the resources that we really want to start focusing on. It's just giving our young men the capacity to function in a way. But I don't like giving excuses when our focus is don't excuse, improve. The more opposition that you see, recognize that opposition. I'm not saying that there's not racism. I'm not saying there's not things that are out systematically to cause obstacles for you, but it's no different than playing sports. When you got a good defense, guess what? You better prepare for it. Your blocks better be tighter. You better be ready to deal with the opposition that's coming for you. You don't ask them, hey, you playing too good a defense. I need you to tone that down. I got to develop myself to be prepared for the opposition.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. So staying right there, you talking about preparing yourself, making sure you're ready for the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
What was there ever a time, and I want you to give me like a specific time, man, as to when you didn't have all the answers or quote unquote resources? How did you figure that out? Whether it's as a young man or as a family man, like as a community contributor, like what any one of those stages or roles, like was there ever a time where you didn't have all the answers or quote unquote resources? How did you figure that thing out, man?
I'll start with probably the place in my life where I felt the most inept was to deal with the loss of my grandfather. I was not prepared. You know,
How old were
my
you?
grandfather, I was 18. So it was
18.
my senior year in high school. And he was Superman to me. So you talking about somebody who went from, you know, in his 70s, he was still carrying transmissions by himself, like to the backyard. And then to go and see somebody that you saw do these amazing feats and then have to turn around in a 6-month period, you got to go and pick them up out of the tub. You got to change them. You got to do these things. I wasn't prepared for that mentally, but even in it, it was never a problem to do it. It hurt my feelings to see him in that weakened state, but I wasn't prepared for life without him because I didn't know how much of a hedge of protection that he held. And so in a lot of places, you know, people who would wake up and apologize if they dreamed about talking to me crazy solely because of him. Now they throwing, I mean, they unloading the clip. It ain't no arrows left in their quiver. And so now I don't know how to balance that because I'm stuck with a situation where I feel I told myself the lie, I got to be stoic. I got to be hard. I can't be whining. I can't be crying, thinking that that's what he would want. Because that's one thing. He gave me permission to show emotion. He didn't really show emotion. So I always tried to cater more to that strength that I thought it was. You know, I saw my grandfather cry maybe 3 times my whole life. But in that sense, I didn't understand that, you know, in places he wished he had more freedom to show that emotion. He kind of tried to instill that in me, but I didn't get that till way later. So trying to navigate that loneliness, trying to navigate just that feeling of abandonment, even though he didn't have a choice in it, it was still a sense of abandonment. I lost somebody or somebody had left me at one of the most crucial points in my life and trying to step into manhood. So, you know, I'm going on to the college campus and, you know, I learned to perform. You know, I'm on the step team, you know, I'm on the speech and debate team at that time. So I could do things that gave this image, but I was toe up like emotionally. You know, people got the face of me and then I would go disappear for however many days or whatever the case may be. So that was very hard for me because I didn't have the skills to cope. And I learned a lot of bad habits. I sat in a lot of places of worthlessness and unhealthy relationships, whether it be friendship, romantic, family, all of those pieces. And I didn't know how to swim. I always tell people it's a big difference between swimming in the pool and swimming in the ocean. You think you can swim until that undercurrent hit. You think you can swim until that wave come and topple you over. Now all of a sudden it's a whole different level of panic. And so now I'm out in the ocean trying to navigate this and I don't know where to go. So a lot of that led to, you know, easily being exploited because I'm looking for something. I'm looking for somebody to step in and fill that void. Unfortunately, some of the people that came in to fill that void really took advantage. So I didn't really recoup from some of that until my late 30s, like 37, 38. And so here I am trying to recoup from all of these different lessons. I always tell people the difference between the L's, we call it. You either got a loss or a lesson, and the determining factor of that is, did you learn? I had a lot of losses. I wasn't learning. And then I had to come back and turn those into lessons, and it made me kind of grateful. But I did have people that came along that path that planted those seeds, and I'm grateful that, you know, they gave me grace. They allowed me to circle back and ask questions. They allowed me to tap into some of that wisdom that I wasn't ready to receive, just because I can't reach for that wisdom and still hide this pain. I need this arm to hold on to that pain because it's gonna leak out. It's gonna come out. And that's so that's really the focus for it is I wasn't equipped for that grief or for that loss.
So you realize, man, I lose my granddaddy, Superman. I'm 18 years old, crucial time, pivotal time in my life. And I don't know how to deal with it. At what point did you begin to turn the corner and you figure out how to deal with it? Like what helped you? Like, was there a defining moment? Because I know you said you went through your college years and, you know, you're looking and you're being exploited and all this, and you never was able to really recoup, you know. But was there a defining moment for you, Daught, where you was like, man, this is when that light bulb went off? And when it went off, man, that's when I began to put the pieces together and I figured this thing out. Like, is there a defining moment that helped you?
Probably the biggest defining moment for me was with my ex-wife. She ended up, not going to go into too many details, but she ended up leaving and going to California with a religious institution. And that left my boys with a huge void. That was a level of abandonment that tapped into me. It's like, yo, like I did everything within my power to make sure that I wasn't going to raise my kids in a broken home. But that choice was taken away from me. And so here I am as a single father trying to navigate these young men. And I'm seeing that they need something that I ain't learned yet. And that's what made it a necessity. I think sometimes we don't realize, I speak for myself personally, it was okay for me to go through that pain. I was used to it. Yeah. I wasn't prepared for my son to go through it. I wasn't prepared for him to. I remember what it was like to cry about my mom not being there. Yeah. I didn't know, I wasn't prepared to cry, to deal with his cry for it. So it really forced me to be a little bit more open with myself. It's like, I got to learn this to be able to navigate it for him. And so, my twins were a lot younger, but my oldest, he was 5. So he recognized and he was there. So I made that decision. That was a turning point for me, is I'm not going to be able to answer his questions if I don't go through this right now. So that really started the process of, number one, being honest with myself about what's happening, what's going on, start to deal with some of those insecurities, some of those inferiority complexes. And also what I didn't want him to go through is feeling like I had to perform for love. I was in a lot of situations where I felt like I had to earn every ounce of love. So it turned into people pleasing. So, I'm over willing to help. And I think that was tapping into my natural heart of service, but it was being exploited in some places and I didn't have no boundaries. Yeah. And so it always left me at a place where I was depleted because I didn't set those boundaries or have a place where you got to pour back into me. And I think sometimes we try to be so selfless. And so like we just burn the candle at both ends and we don't have anybody that's saying like, hey, even though I might need this, you need to say no more than I need you to say yes. And if you don't have somebody in your place that'll do that for you, it changes. But definitely having my sons in that situation was a turning point. So it forced me to, start thinking about things like mental health. It forced me to start dealing with my childhood traumas. It forced me to be able to stand in integrity. Even if I don't know, it won't be because I didn't try. So it really started the effort in order to be there for my children.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. That's good. So when you look at it, it had your son was your motivating factor. Like he was the one to say, you know what, let me get this together, because it's one thing for me to experience this, to go through it, but it's another thing for me to see him go through that similar experience and me leave him out to dry, so to speak. I love what you're saying, man. One of the things I used to say, Daught, when I was growing up, and this is around the time I lost my pops. When I was 14, my dad was killed. And he died in my arms, man. And I remember saying things like, man, I want a wife and 7 kids. I want a wife and 7 kids. I kept saying that, man. I'm 14 years old and I'm talking that way. And I realized the reason why I kept saying that, and this is down the road, I realized that I was saying it because, one, I realized what a broken home, what damage it was causing to the children. And I said, man, I said, I want a wife. I want a wife. Like I kept emphasizing, I want a wife. And I kept in my mind, I kept imagining what a healthy marriage looked like. And I knew that, and this ain't no diss to my mom and my daddy, it is what it is, but I knew the example that they had showed me, that wasn't it. I knew I needed something that was going to be with my kids, without a doubt. They know mama and daddy, like they down for each other. Mama and daddy, like they really doing life for real. And this is a great example for me to be able to follow, right? That's what I wanted for my kids. The other thing that I realized that I wanted 7 kids, man. For me, I'm like, bro, I wanted to have as many kids as possible to give them what I felt like I did not get, from my parents, right? I wanted to give them that. And so in a similar fashion, for me, my kids, even though they were not born yet, these are kids that I'm imagining, right? That was
Yeah,
still my motivating factor. And then of
for
course, when
sure.
we started to have kids, man, hands down, like they definitely were, my motivating factor. I want to go back though, because you mentioned how your son, especially the one that was 5 years old, but the one that was 5 was really the reason why you began to turn that corner and you wanted to really figure it out. There's some young men that are going through life, and you and I both, we work with the young men, and we realize there's a lot of young men that got questions, man, that's not being answered. They got hurts, they got wounds that haven't been healed, that haven't been treated. And they got a lot of anger, resentment, bitterness, that has come from that. I want you to speak to that young man that may be feeling stuck right now because he thinks he doesn't have enough. Like maybe they lost somebody important. There's a Superman in their life, like you lost your granddad. They lost somebody super important. Or they maybe from as far back as they can remember, they don't ever remember somebody being there for them like that. Can you speak to that young man who feels stuck and thinks he doesn't have enough? Like what would you say to him to help him to be able to win, man, in spite of what he thinks he doesn't have?
For sure. I would start off definitely by telling them that it's so easy to believe you're the only one going through what you're going through.
Yeah.
When you in the moment, I tell people, if you put me in the water and I'm drowning, it could be 30 other people that's drowning too. I see me. I can't see everyone else that's going through it. And I think sometimes we're in that emotional drowning state. We isolate ourselves far more than we need to, even to a detrimental point. And so first letting it know you're not the only one going through it, not to diminish your pain, but in an encouraging standpoint that if somebody else is going through it, that means somebody else is conquering it too. And it can give you hope in the aspect of maybe I can make it through this situation. I always want to encourage young men to know there's nobody that you lie to more than you lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Because boy, look here.
Yeah.
Any lie that you told somebody else, you already told yourself.
Already.
You got to understand that. So a lot of the standards that we set, like when I'm working with the young men in my group, I always tell them no church answers, because I know how easy it is to get caught up in saying, which, especially when you respect somebody, you revere somebody, you want to say the right things.
Yeah.
And I be trying to shoot that down as much as possible. Like, I can't do nothing with all this little falseness. I need you to talk to me on what you're really dealing with, what you got going on. So no church answers. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. And then thirdly, definitely is it takes a different level of courage to come out of a situation. It don't take much to sit there and hide. It don't take much to avoid or, get to the point where I'm just riding the clock out. I'm doing everything but dying at this point. You're not really living. And so what I would encourage them to is I want them to think about a time where you really felt like you couldn't do something, even to the point where you might not remember. Because if you think of, and I'm pretty sure you can relate to the resilience. Think about when you watched your children walk. Like, think that precursor to them actually getting those steps really down, when they still got the Bambi legs, they wobbling, they got the big head like my kids, they back and forth. But it really comes down to that standpoint of, think of the resilience. They don't care how many times they fall. They get right back up.
That's right.
Like, there's no pity party. It ain't even really frustration in most kids. It's like, I know I can't do this, but I know I ain't going to be able to do it until I get up again. And especially if they see something they want. I don't know much resilience past the toddler to see that shiny thing, and I'm going to get to it. It don't matter what's in my way. No obstacle. And so, even though we may not remember those times, if you walk in now, you probably went through that stage. You went through that phase. So sometimes just looking at it from a perspective, when I don't feel like I'm equipped, get up again, ask again. Oh, I didn't get it that time. A lot of, one of the greatest resources you can have is just persistence. That same way you ask for stuff, like whenever I had some kids that are struggling academically, I said, I need you to have that gamer mentality. Like, what you mean? I said, I need you to have that same energy that you got for that stage that you can't beat on that video game. I done seen, now I'm speaking personally, I done spent hours, days trying to beat stages on the video game. And I ain't quitting. I get mad, I get frustrated, I'm coming right back to it. And like, we're gonna get this done. What if I took that same type of resilience for my schoolwork? I had that for that quadratic equation, or I had that for, this paper that I gotta take care of. I'm not getting the grade I'm really looking for. We have those skills more than we know. It's just about tapping them in and taking out the want to. I think we get lost sometime in what I want to do, and we not really able to see what I'm capable of doing. Because sometimes exactly what you want to do is standing behind exactly what you don't want to do. So if I'm stuck in what I want, I'm never tapping into my capabilities. I'm never tapping into like, hey, I might not go as fast. I might not get it as quick, but once I got it, and now I can move with it. So I think those are the 3 points that I would really speak to for any young man that's feeling it. Mainly, you're not the only one. Stop lying to yourself, and you got to go get it. Don't excuse, improve.
That's good, man. That's good. All right. So what about the young man? Can you talk about asking for it? What about the young man who's believing what culture is telling them about asking, and culture's saying, hey man, you ask, you start asking for help, you appear to be weak. You know what I mean? Like you gonna look like you don't know what you're doing, and all that pride kicks in, man. So in today's culture, ask for help. It may be seen as a weakness, but how would you reframe that for a young man? The importance of asking for help. How would you reframe that? Because again, we're talking about being resourceful. A lot of times, closed mouth ain't gonna get fed. So,
for sure, I'm gonna answer that 2 parts. Okay. I am gonna encourage that young man to continue to ask. Definitely gonna encourage him to understand, like, one of the most difficult feelings to try to overcome is asking for something and not receiving it. Oftentimes when I'm working with educators, I'm doing professional developments, trying to help them, particularly working with at-risk kids. I tell them a lot of the kids that you deal with, they would rather not be picked up than to be picked up and dropped again. Literally, apathy seems like a better way to go about things. So that's why they try to numb themselves through substances, through relationships, through just the constant lie that they tell themselves that I don't care. And so I think the biggest point for them is it goes back to that honesty piece, but really having that honest conversation with themselves of like, hey, how bad do I not want to be here? And so that second part that comes to that, I tell a quick story that I was told before. It's like, it was a man that fell into a hole. And while he was in that hole, he's like, man, I don't want to be here. And there's 3 people that walked past him in that hole. The first person walked by, and it was a pastor. And the pastor looked down to the hole, and the young man grabbed up. He said, hey, I want to get out of this hole. Please help me, sir. I'm down here. I can't take this. I want to get out. The pastor gave him the snobby look and started asking, well, what'd you do to get down there? How you know you don't deserve to be down there? And don't you see how I'm dressed? I can't be getting my clothes dirty, messing with that. I'm on my way to speak to thousands. You need to get yourself together, and walked off. It broke the young man. He was hurt, but he still hadn't lost hope because he really wanted to get out the hole. The second person that came by was a missionary, and she came back. He screamed out, ma'am, please help me. I'm trying to get out of this hole. Will you please help me? And she gave the same energy. You probably deserve to be down there. What did you do to get there? All the questions that just kept making him feel deeper and deeper stuck into that hole, and she broke him. He got to the point where he believed that he deserved to be down there, so it's no point in even fighting. And the third person came by. The young man didn't even look up. He just kept looking at the ground, even though he heard the footsteps. And while he was down throwing his pity party, he heard a thud. It's like, man, what's going on? He looked up, and the third person had gotten the hole with him. He said, man, what are you doing? I don't want no company. Like, what are you doing? I want to get out of the hole. He said, I understand, young blood. But here's the deal. I've been in this hole before, and I know how to get out. And so I think that's the next step that really comes back to be as honest as possible, is the responsibility is really on us, bro. And when I'm talking to the young men, I think it is on men like me and yourself to be more intentional in hunting them out. And I think we got to model that willingness to ask for help. One of the things that helped me in my educational experience. So I was a professional. I was a paraprofessional at one of the middle schools. And these kids, boy, look here. First of all, I love my babies. Let me put that disclaimer out there.
Yeah.
But if they wasn't born to nuck if you buck, I don't know who has. Like, they gonna test every ounce of patience that you got, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But at this particular time, I was doing bad. When I say I ain't have it, I didn't have it. So I came in, and sure enough, I was trying to hide in my office, and it was like, Mr. Daughtery, we need you to sub. I was like, ah. So normally, anytime I walk into the classroom, every time I would come in and say, hi, my name is Mr. Chris, and I'm big on one thing. I'm big on respect. But that's not just you respecting me. I need you to leave this classroom feeling respected and valued by me. Will you help me with that? So that's my speech. All the kids know it. Even when I walk in, they like, oh, here he comes. Yeah, I'm going to say it again every single time. And so this particular day, I didn't get a speech. I told him, hey, Mr. Chris, just need to be honest with you. I'm not okay. And I'm only telling you this because if I get an attitude with you, or I'm not giving you the energy that you need, please forgive me. Let me know, and I'm gonna do my best to really not, to not mistreat you, because my pain is not an excuse to mistreat you. When I say that was the best behaved I had ever seen these jokers in my life, I was like, man, I don't want to take advantage of this, but at the same time, like, ooh, maybe I need to switch my speed. I need to be doing bad every day. But what it taught me was I modeled the opportunity for them to ask for help. I can't tell you how many kids took that same model and they would come to my office, or they would come seek me out and find me and say, Mr. Chris, I'm not doing good today. And that gave me the opportunity to say, hey, how we going to make it through this? We can't always change our circumstances, but how can we make it through the next period? I ain't even saying the day. How can we make it through the next period? And then we can recharge and come back to it. So I think the second part of that is we got to model that for them. We got to be willing to come to them and ask them for help in their expertise. We got to be able to model asking our superiors for help, or even our peers. But I think sometimes it's unfair for us to constantly set expectations in places that we're not willing to model.
Right. That's good. Real good, man. I love that. I love that. I want to open it up for all the viewers right now, man. If you got a question for Chris Daughtery, man, aka C. Dot, man, please drop that question in the comment section right now, and we'll pull it up, man, for him to answer. But before we do that, before we get to the questions, I do want to go straight to the King's Toolbox, man. I think this is super important. A lot of things that you said, Chris. I totally agree with you, man. I do. And I would say with the King's Toolbox, let's talk about being resourceful. Like I said before, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, man. And it's so important that when it comes down to us recognizing that we have needs, unmet needs, it does us no good, man, to just sit there with those unmet needs, knowing that maybe we've exhausted what we thought was possible, but yet those needs are still left unmet.
I got a snack, but I'm still hungry.
You know what I'm saying? At that point, man, we got to get to a place where we have to swallow whatever ego, whatever pride issues we may have, and say, you know what? I don't have it all together. Just like you had said when you walk into the classroom, it wasn't that you were looking necessarily for the students to meet those unmet needs, but you're just being honest. Like, I'm not doing good. So if you see me act this way out of character, then you'll know where it may be stemming from. And so a lot of times for us, we don't want to be looked a certain kind of way. And so, young King, what I'm telling you today is to make sure you do two things, man. One, again, open up your mouth. That's the first thing I want you to think about. And so who do you open up your mouth to, man? Your network. You got to leverage, man, the people that are around you. I said this before, but I'll say it again. In my book, I had wrote 7 principles that helped me to overcome that tragedy of losing my pops at the age of 14. And the thing that helped me, one of the main things was tapping into my network, but I called them and ones. And this is how I really began to realize who was like truly worth seeking out. Your and ones are people who are going to add value to you, young king. Like they don't want anything from you. They just want to make sure you're good. Those are your and ones. Your and ones are people who want to see you succeed, and that's reward in and of itself. They don't want clout. They're not even looking for attaboys. They're not looking for you to give them any type of money in exchange. None of that. They just want to see you do well. So I want you to begin to think about those people that you come in contact with on a regular basis who are there for you. They just rocking with you because of who you are. Those are the people I want you to start getting, for lack of better words, I want to use comfortable. I don't think that's the word I want to use, but I want you to be okay with opening up your mouth and saying, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Like I really got something heavy on my chest right now. I remember as I was going through some of the stuff I was going through, man, some of the people that I would go to would be a teacher. Like one of the teachers actually went to school with my pops, and I would open up to her. But the one I really went to above anybody else, that was my girlfriend, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like junior year in high school, man, after my pops was killed, like she was the one I would open up to. Why did I go to her? Because I knew she didn't want anything from me necessarily, right? She was just there because she cared for me. And so I want you to identify those people in your network that you can open up to and begin to leverage that, man. Maybe you need an answer. Maybe you need a quick plug. Hey, man, can you just connect me with somebody that can help me, right? Like whatever that may look like. Maybe you just need a listening ear. Or in my case with my girl, man, I needed a shoulder to be able to cry on. You know what I'm saying? That's just real talk. And I know as men, that's something that society would tell us, man, nah, men don't cry. And that's a lie. That's a lie. I want you to be okay with opening up. And when you open up to the right person. The person is not going to judge you because you may have to cry. And it may be an ugly cry on top of that. But it's all right. Like snot and all, man. Listen, see that. I'm like, snot is dripping, bro. And I'm talking to my girl. And I'm thinking she about to judge me, man. I'm thinking she about to judge me because up until this point, when I had lost my pops, man, I felt like I had to be strong for everybody around me. And so I got to be strong for my little brother. I got to be strong for my mama. Even though my mom and daddy was separated for a long time, I got to be strong for his parents, my grandparents, my aunties, my uncles, all these people I felt like I had to be strong for. And so when those emotions had kept rising up and I'm feeling sad and I'm feeling, abandoned, or I'm feeling lonely, I'm feeling like really vulnerable, I would suppress those emotions and pretend like they weren't even there. Yeah. And I kept suppressing it so much until I couldn't suppress it no more. And once I got up to my girl's house, man, it's like out of nowhere, just one tear fell. And it's like the whole dam just
floodgates,
man, it just busted open, man. And I'm like, I'm crying, I'm bawling, man, uncontrollably. I'm trying to stop. I'm snot dripping. And I'm looking at her like, dang, she about to judge me, man. She gonna call me a punk. She ain't gonna want to date me no more. Man, my girl, she took her arm, put it around my head, around my neck, and she grabbed my head and she laid it across her shoulder, man. And she said, listen, just let it out. Man. And bruh, and that's what I'm saying, young kings, those are the type of people you want to begin to open up to. So leverage your network, man. I don't want to hear that ain't nobody here for me, Coach D. No, that's a lie, bruh. You got people in your life, strategically in your life, that are there to be able to help you through some of the hardest, darkest days, man. And they want to. They're not just able to do it, but they want to do it. Yeah. And so open up, man, and give them that opportunity for sure.
Absolutely.
The second tool I'm going to give you is this right here. Turn your limitations into innovation. Turn your limitations into innovation. For some of y'all, man, you keep saying to yourself, well, I ain't got much, Coach D. Man, I really ain't got it like that. Like my homeboy that's on the team, man, he got this. He got that person. Bump what they got. I want you to focus on what you got. And so while you keep saying that you don't have this and you don't have that, I need you to focus on the things that you see that you do have. I got a coach that cares for me. man, you know what? Mama be working, like she be working like crazy, but she at least answer her text, you know what I'm saying, while she at work. Man, I do got this person, I do got that person, I do got this skill set. I do know how to go cut yards if I really need money. And I ain't trying to get in trouble with the law, man. Let me go, you know what I'm saying? Like you got certain things at your disposal. You just got to use what you got to the max.
For sure.
You got to use it to the max. And that's what I'm saying for you. Turn those limitations to innovation. So the question you should be asking yourself is, what can I do with what I do have? How can I use this relationship I have to get me out of this situation? How can I use this skill set I have to get me about to change the circumstance? That's what I want you to begin to think about, young king. You got what it takes. It's going to take everything you got in order to make to change that situation that you're in. All right. So with all that being said, I want to see if there's any questions. And if not, see that I want you to be able to add, man, anything that you feel like you want to add to that right there. But we talking, giving them a practical tool that they can take with them, man, as we get ready to wrap up. All right, here we go. So we got the relentless motivator, K Noel. So
what's up, Noel?
Yeah, no doubt. So one of the biggest lessons I had to learn was that it is okay to show emotions. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to feel. Man, I love that.
Hey, and shout out to K Noel, Boy Man King podcast. But I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire since you want to be petty, Mr. Noel. Since you want to talk about feelings and emotions, you need to start thinking about Chizzy's emotions with that birthday video that you did being petty about the Michael Jordan story. But I ain't gonna go no farther into that. But you 100% right. We have to learn to be able to show emotions. We have to be able to just have that safe place to say, hey, I'm hurting. Yeah, I'm struggling. I need that help. So definitely that is a huge component that's so needed for us to, as men, I must make that specific for men. I definitely want us to be mindful that even though we weren't modeled, and a lot of times we're not allowed, as I said before, the only socially acceptable emotion to show for men is anger. It's to the crazy point, and you correct me if I'm wrong, bro. Like, you can't even be happy as a man without being considered soft or weak. You smiling too much. What you so happy about? Like, so you telling me all I can show is aggression in order to determine myself as a man? Like, you are so limited in a healthy way of expression. Because I always tell people that emotion is important to express, but understand emotions carry different consequences. I can be hurt. I don't have the same consequence of expressing hurt as I do showing anger. Anger often comes with a punitive measure. And so I think it's extremely important for us to be able to, number one, going back, being honest with ourselves about how we feel, and then going into your toolbox, finding that network that allows you. Like, I cannot tell you some of the hardest, most stoic, strong gangster brothers that you want to put out there. It's a lot of tears that's gonna hit this shoulder just because I was willing to come up and hug. I know you fronting right now. I know you're trying to present yourself as, impenetrable. You are bulletproof. Nothing bothers you. But hey, that's all good until that jail cell closed and you didn't get to talk to your mama and you don't know if she okay. Yeah. Start hitting different. It's a lot of young men, even in the detention center. I used to work at a detention center out here, and I remember, even though I wasn't supposed to do it, just from a human standpoint, I would hug the kids in the cell. I would let them know because they need to be reinforced. I understand the rules, but sometimes that humanity part is what allows them to make it through the day. And so, the whole focus of being able to have that level of human connection and to say, like, you safe in here. I know you in this room. I know you in this cell, but sometimes you don't feel safe because you about to beat yourself up. Yeah. You about to cause emotional harm to you, sometimes physical harm. But sometimes it takes that interruption in that thought process for you to remember and for you to know, like, I am valuable and I am important. So I think it's huge on that emotional piece to learn. And a lot of it, I'm not just talking to kids, I'm talking to men. So you might be 40, 50, still struggling with that aspect of how I express or how do I even ask for help. So I think this is, there ain't no age limit that goes with that.
No, that's good, man. That's good. So K Noel, he said, society has tried to confuse us to what is masculine, and that alone is adding so much stress to us. Yeah.
Woo.
Man, come on.
Facts.
Talk heavy, man.
Big facts.
Yep.
Okay. See, like, I'm gonna point Noel out again. That's that Batman fan in you right now that's tapping into that mental aspect, bringing out these quality comments. I appreciate you, K Noel. That's my boy. I'm a petty individual, if you ain't already know. So I got a shout out to my boy. That's our inside talk. But just so you know, Wakanda forever. Anyway, keep going.
Let's go. All right. So if there's no other questions, man, what I want to do, I want to be able to close this thing out. And as we close it out, I want to go back to the quote that I started off with. And that quote is from Albert Einstein. And what he said again, he said, it's not that I'm so smart. It's just I stay with problems longer. I stay with problems longer. What is he saying? I stay with them long enough until I can figure it out. I just want you to figure it out, young king. The problems you're dealing with, listen, they're much more to your advantage. They're designed to be to your advantage than they are to your disadvantage. But you'll never get that if you tap out. And that's why I say commitment is necessary. But in the process of being committed, following through on your commitment, you got to be resourceful, man. Like, figure it out. Figure it out, man. Because what you're going to realize, just as you see between me and C-Dot, you see that, man, we in the community. But had we not gone through the stuff we went through, how effective could we really be in the work that we do? You know what I'm saying? How effective can we really be in our own homes, with our own wife and our children? Like, how effective can we really be if we didn't go through some of the stuff that we went through? But that's the thing, we had to not just go through it, but grow through it. And part of growing through it means, again, I'm being committed, that bridge, but then also I'm being resourceful in the process of following through on my commitment. So be resourceful, man. Figure it out. And if you ain't got the question, if you don't have the answers to those questions, you got people in your network, tap into them. Can I be honest with you, C-Dot? Like not having my pops, man, at one point, I found myself get to a place where I was like, it was hard for me, man, to just submit to authority once I had lost my pops, man. Like I didn't take pleasure in having some other dude, like trying to be over me, like, take, what I mean? Like to have authority over me. I didn't take pleasure in that, man. I didn't want to be accountable to some other man. So even being in the Marine Corps, man, accountability is huge in the military. But I struggle with that, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wanted to hear him and get through the ranks so I can be the man at the top.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, bump that. You're not gonna sit up and tell me what to do, right? But I struggle with that. I can only imagine, like, young kings. I know for a lot of y'all that don't have pops there per se, that don't have your Superman there, your grandfather, whoever that is to you, man, you may be struggling with that. But I'm telling you, put the pride to the side, put the ego to the side, man. Admit, I need some help. And be willing to get the help from the people that really care for you.
That's big.
With all that being said, C-Dot, I want you to give us one last nugget, man, before we get out of here. And then also tell the people where they can find you, in case they want to get at you.
Absolutely. I'm gonna leave you with the nugget that my grandfather instilled into me, and it's still busting my head to this day. The same sun that melts butter will harden clay and will evaporate water. It's so important for you to know what type of substance you're dealing with, and it starts with yourself. I think sometimes we get so focused on how we move, how we do things and how we respond to things, that we try to make that universal. And so it creates a blind spot in it, because now we comparing struggles. Somebody might come on and say, I lost my daddy and it didn't bother me at all. Well, okay, you might not have had the same relationship, or you just might not have the same personality that I have. You might have something else that struggles with you, that you, the same thing that would be an obstacle to you would be encouraging to me. You know, you might have that perseverance in you, and you might be able to, you know, do something different in this place. But I think understanding that, especially, let me speak directly to mentors, to educators, to anybody who may be working with children, even in a parenting standpoint, learn what substance your child is and move from there. Deal with the child you have, especially for people who have multiple children. And I'm pretty sure you can speak to it, D. Like, what works for one child don't work for the other child. Like,
it's not
that one size fits all is a myth. You can set standards, you can set different goals, but just understanding, even from a discipline standpoint, I got kids that I can make a look at and we good. Them younger two, you asked about them COVID babies. I'm gonna go back to it. Like, they about their life. That's all I can say. So my younger two, and I'm not that big of a physical disciplinarian person, but my younger two have gotten more spankings than my older three combined.
Wow.
And I'm sitting back like, they got double-digit years on you, and you still already surpassed it, because they don't care what you're saying. They only respond to a certain level of consequence. And so, you know, I had to go through that stage of, no, I will pop you. But now we're at a place where I don't have to. But if I had tried to, like, they try their best to test every boundary, they push every button they can, but I can't carry them the way I carry my older kids, because they're not the same personality. They don't respond the same way. And that don't make them no less loved. That don't make them, you know, no less important. But I can't take the same approach with each child, because I have to respect the individual that they are. So, you know, that's really for anybody who's working with kids, work with the substance that's before you. Don't try to demand that they respond in a way that they're not supposed to, simply because they're not that substance. So understanding who they are and being mindful of that really changes the scope of relationship or how you're able to move.
That's good. Yes, sir. Cool. All right. So tell us how can we get how can people get a hold of you, man? Where can they follow you? Break that down.
Oh, for sure. On Instagram, it's C.3. So CDAUGHT, the number 3. Same thing for TikTok. On Facebook is Chris Daughtery. YouTube, it's just C.CDAUGHT. And on all those platforms, we're building up the subscribers, but ultimately, just as far as from Boys and Gentlemen, we're trying to be the change that we're trying to see. So I'm grateful for a partnership with a middle school out here that we started our Bridge the Gap program. So we are going to be working with 20 students, the parents, and doing professional developments for the educators, so we can make a more collective component with it. So I'm super excited about this opportunity, and that's really what we focused on. At very least, I said that with my closing thought, but this is going to be my for real closing thought, is you can't always make a situation better, but you can always make it worse. But sometimes not making it worse is exactly what it needs to get better. Just commit to doing no harm. More mindful you are, sometimes it's more of what you don't do than what it is that you do. So come in with that mindset. So if you work with kids or you're around kids, if you got that energy of that nostalgia of that's what's wrong with this generation, just be quiet. Don't make it harder for us to work with them. Just hey, buy some Chick-fil-A, sponsor an event, but don't shoot bullets at an enemy that I'm gonna have to fight. Like don't add to that problem. So that's my closing thought for that.
That's good, man. Well, bro, I just want to tell you, I definitely No, I just want to tell you, bro, I definitely appreciate you being here for sure. For all those who had tuned in, Again, thank you guys for being a part of Real Talk Tuesday. Daught, it has been a pleasure, man, to chop it up with you. For those who have anybody that you feel like, man, you know what, this right here, I know somebody needs to hear this. I'm gonna challenge you right now, man, to go ahead and hit that share button, and give it to them, man. Like, gift this to them, allow them to be able to hopefully glean, from what has been said, and to really gain the wisdom, the gems that have been dropped for sure. We got one more comment that had popped up before we get out of here. This right here, Terrell.
Mr.
Brandon.
Terrell. What's up?
Terrell. Okay, Mr. Terrell. All right, there we go. So Mr. Terrell. So he said, one more. Even those scars have values. That skin is stronger and a reminder that it hurt, but you survived. Make that your mental armor and get a team when you see the value in team. Man, I appreciate you dropping that, Mr. Terrell, for sure. For sure. Again, man, thank you guys for tuning in to Real Talk Tuesday. Today, we were talking about resourcefulness, and we had our special guest, my brother from another mother. Man is in there in the trenches for real, for real. Daught, appreciate you, man, for being on. Remember, guys, you are a winner. Listen to me, you are a winner, but winning's a choice. So whatever you do not quit. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.